Hey, welcome back to another episode of the She's Making an Impact podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ngom. Today, we are talking all things Tony Robbins Business Mastery event. Okay, don't wait until you feel like it to work on your business, to do whatever it is that you want to do. So Tony every morning starts his day with a cold plunge. He jumps into freezing water. He either does like a cold pool or jumps in a river by one of his houses. And he says, there's not a single morning that I wake up thinking, yay, I get to jump into this cold water. Like he hates it, but he trains himself not to negotiate with himself. And so he doesn't stand on the edge like, maybe should I do it? Maybe should I? Or no, he's like, when I say go, we go. So he trains himself to take that action, to not just wait until he feels like it, because you're never going to feel like it. Like the motivation isn't going to come. One of the things he said on the first day that I loved, he said, I'm standing here in front of you as the greatest student. Never stop learning. It's what you learn after you know everything that really counts. Whew, that was good. That was good. Okay. The chokehold on the growth of the business is the psychology of the leader. So your success in business, it's going to be 80% psychology, 20% strategy. So you got to work on both at the same time, obviously, but like more so psychology, which is why I talk about like morning routines and the books that I'm reading and the events that I'm attending and how I'm learning and how I'm growing, because it's so important that you're focused on this aspect. If you're not, it's gonna be a struggle. Okay. Sorry, I'm like so sniffly. Okay, winter is coming. So he said the next economic crash is, according to his people and his resources, is will happen in the next 9 to 18 months. And he said, like, don't freak out because some of the wealthiest people made their fortunes when it was a downturn in the economy. But just so you're prepared, start stashing cash, and think about how you could add even more value in those times. Don't fall in love with your product or service. Sometimes we're so obsessed with our product or our course or whatever it is that we have. He said, fall in love with your customer instead. Focus on them, not just your product or service. And when you fall in love with your customer, you're going to do so much better. Self esteem comes from doing hard things. So, when's the last time that you did something hard, something challenging, something that pushed you out of your comfort zone, something that was a little scary? That's where you're going to build your confidence. So for people that say, I'm just not a confident person, I can't show up live, I can't do, again, all these limitations, like the chatter that you have. Ooh, good book I just thought of, Crash the Chatterbox by Stephen Furtick. You should read it. So figure out what is that hard thing that you can do and pursue that. Do that hard thing. Put yourself in that situation where you're uncomfortable, because that's when you're really going to grow. Richard Branson is known as one of the world's most successful entrepreneurs of all time. He has had 365 companies, 160 of them have gone bankrupt. Let that sink in. Almost half of Richard Branson's companies have gone bankrupt. So a lot of times you hear about like these triumphs of, the world's most successful people, but you don't hear about the failures and the struggles that they've had as they've reached those levels of success. So that's huge. I wrote down again, be resourceful. And whenever I'm at an event, Tony does a really good job of telling stories. So I always write down the story that he told with like that lesson or that learning, because that's going to jog my memory of what the lesson was in that, because the story always brings it back to me. So in business, you're going to have moments that suck and you have to figure out how you can get resourceful. So Tony shared the story of how he was hosting a seminar, one of his very first seminars in Vancouver, Canada. And he collected the money from the people attending the seminar and spent it to host the seminar. And then Canada's immigration came and told him, you don't have a work permit. You can't host the seminar in Canada. We're going to deport you. Like, you got to get out of here. Whew. So what's the guy going to do? He decided that he's like, all right, everyone pack up. We're going to have a moving seminar. I'm going to get you on a bus. We're going to figure out the closest city in America that we can host this. And he figured it out. He got resourceful. And a lot of times when those moments happen, we just kind of want to, like, I don't know, like, we accept defeat. But instead of accepting defeat, ask yourself, like, how can I find a way? Like, what can I do in this situation? So you got to get resourceful. And I wrote down that effective leaders know that resources are never the problem. It's always a question of resourcefulness. And the ultimate resources are human emotions like creativity, certainty, determination, flexibility, compassion, connection, and vision. A crisis can turn into a breakthrough if you don't give up. So, how many times have you gone through something that was really challenging? Like in your mind, this is an ultimate crisis. Excuse me. If you don't give up, that crisis can turn into a massive breakthrough. I was listening to this song. Oh, let me see if I can find it. If you want to take the island, you've got to burn your boats. Boom, boom, boom. Let me find. Okay. So the song that I was listening to before I got on is Burn the Ships by For King and Country. And I love that. You can't, like, if you want to reach that next level of success, don't give yourself a way out. Like, literally, it's like burn your ships, take the island, say, I'm going all in, I'm committed, and I'm going to find a way. I'm going to figure this out. Great ideas must be pursued, they don't just come to you. And so you have to sit down and be intentional. A good book, another good book. Keith Cunningham, the speaker, he wrote the Road Less Stupid. And he talks a lot about thinking time in that book and having intentional time set aside where you're pursuing ideas and different things in your business. Don't try to be better than other people in your industry, be different. Oh, this one's huge. Don't start with the how. Start with the target and the result, and program your brain to look for the result, not the how. So often, like, we set a goal and we're always figuring out, like, how is this going to happen? How? And he was training people at the seminar, like, no, 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 don't worry about the how. Just focus on that end result. You're going to figure out the how. But if you start with the how, it's going to be a lot harder. So focus on that target, that end result. It'll help you get out of your head so much more. Plant your feet and decide. Stop doing research. So he did an intervention with someone at the event. And when he asked her at the end of it, like, what's the action you're going to take? She's like, well, I'm going to spend like a week or two researching and doing this. And Tony was like, no, like, that's the worst thing you could do. You have to take massive action. So stop doing research. You know enough right now to take action to get to that next level. So stop thinking you need to know more, acquire more knowledge, and start taking that massive action. Don't give yourself a way out on something that's important and will change someone's life. Oh, that's good. Don't accept limitations like everyone else does. And so he was invited to go to a Michael Jackson concert at the very last second by Michael Jackson. And everyone was telling him, he's like, there's no way you're going to make it. There's too much traffic. There's that yada, yada, like all these limitations. And he was like, no, we're going to find a way. So we figured out how to hire a helicopter. And like, it was just like this crazy, crazy Tony story. But again, in his head, he's like, no, like, I need to get my kids to Michael Jackson. They're going to love this. They're going to have so much fun. We're going to make this happen. I wrote down the steps on how to conquer fear. How to conquer fear. So, step one, every day, feed and strengthen your mind. That's got to be step one. And so every day, stand guard at the door of your mind. You got to make sure you're putting positivity in and you're not letting negativity in. So if there's someone on Facebook or Instagram that just like triggers you, unfollow. If you're watching or listening to the news, especially first thing in the morning, turn it off. It's just like, it's not adding value to your life at all. And program yourself to literally like either grab headphones or do something where you're reading a book or listening to an audio or something first thing in the morning. Step two, every day feed and strengthen your body. So don't tolerate excuses for yourself. Do something that's going to help you become stronger. And so that way your brain knows like who's in charge, and you're going to get more energy. You're going to feel a heck of a lot better. Three, find a great role model. And so he gave it examples of different role models that he's had in his life and in his business. And he said, find multiple role models in the areas that really matter to you. Step four, proximity is power. And so surround yourself with the people that have what you want or going to help you up level and get to that next level. So he gave an example. He was invited on this trip with these really, really wealthy guys. And in his head, he was like, how much is this going to cost? Because they said they were going to split it and they were taking a private plane. And he still wasn't making like bank in his business. So he's like, how much is this going to cost? How long is it going to be? How much time am I going to have to take off? Because he was still the operator of his business, not the owner, which means he was like working all the time. All the time. So he's like, okay, it's going to be 2 weeks. It's going to cost me $35,000. I'm just going to tell him I'm going to think about it. And as soon as the guy was like, you're going to think about it, like you're invited with the wealthiest man in Canada and like all these people, and you're going to think about it. And as soon as Tony made that commitment to make that investment of his time and his resources, he was up leveling because he was surrounded. He didn't know travel like that existed at the time, like taking the private jet and that kind of thing. But he learned and grew so much by being around those people, those mentors, people that were at a different level. And then he was able to take them recently on his private jet, which is just like a total full circle moment. Step 5 is give much more than you expect to receive, and you'll never have to worry about abundance. And so start beyond scarcity. And it's when you have nothing is when you give. And so he gave an example of when he had $22 to his name, like broke as a joke, didn't have anything. He saw this kid and wanted to help him buy lunch for his mom because he was such like a sweet little boy. And he gave him all the money he had left in the world and ended up like skipping home. He was so happy and he wasn't worried. And the next day he got a check in the mail for $1,200. And he was just like, for him, it just meant like, you got to start beyond scarcity. You can't get stuck in this thing of, I can't afford it. I can't do this. I can't do this. Just give even when you think that you can't. So I remember hearing him say that. And I remember back in the day when we lived in St. Louis and I was getting my master's in social work. We were newly married and my husband just lost his job. And so I was in grad school. I wasn't really making any money except for a little bit with network marketing. And he just lost his job. We were going to have to move and find a new place to live. Didn't have any credit to get, get like an apartment. It was, we were kind of a hot mess back then. And when he lost his job, one of the first things that I did was we went and sponsored Babies with Compassion International. And that was my way of just starting beyond scarcity. It's like, no, don't worry about it. We're going to be fine. Like, we're going to be taken care of. We don't have to stress about not having the money. Let's find a way that we can give in this moment when it seems like we don't have anything left to give. Also bring to your attention that we only have 7 spots left in Activate for this year, and they are going fast. And it has been amazing to see the women joining the program already and to see the breakthroughs that they're getting. And this is going to be obviously like your year. 2020 is going to be your year where we're giving you the support and the breakthroughs and the strategies that you need to take your business to the next level with private coaching, group coaching. Like, there's so much that goes into it, but ultimately I want to help you increase your income so you can make a massive, massive impact in the world. So if you want to snag one of the last spots and apply, it's application only because not everyone's going to be a good fit. We want to make sure that you have the right mindset to go into the program. And obviously we coach you on mindset, but we want to make sure that we're taking people who are positive, that are contributing, like just to see the ladies in the group already and how much they're supporting each other, how much value they're adding to each other. Like, it's just insanity. It is so cool. So if you want to apply, just go to rachelandgom.com/activate, or you can just shoot me a message here on Facebook. I will be around today for sure. Tagging people. Yeah, if you see someone that you're like, or you have someone in your head that you know needs to hear some of these messages today, tag them, share this with them. Like, there's so much in this that people just need to hear. Oh my goodness. If you have questions about Activate, shoot me a message and we can chat to see if it would be a good fit for you. I hope you enjoyed these lessons from Business Mastery, and I will talk to you later.